of the central government reiterating, that too in the Supreme Court, that they are very much intending to conduct Legislative Assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir, which is currently functioning as a UT. So the government informed the Supreme Court that it is ready for elections at any time and that the process of updating the voter list is substantially over. Solicitor General Mehta said the Legislative Assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir are likely to be held after Panchayat polls and municipal polls. It is, however, for the State Election Commission and the Central Election Commission to decide which should happen first. He also reminded of the Home Minister's statement in Parliament that UT is a temporary status for Jammu and Kashmir and that the government is dealing with an extraordinary situation, while also pointing out to the betterment of the people post abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, which have been challenged in court, and this happened in the process of that hearing. Can we say then that after 4 years of the abrogation of Article 370, normalcy, a much touted word, has restored in Jammu and Kashmir? Well, we can only bring you some figures. In 2023 alone, 1.27 crore tourists have visited Jammu and Kashmir. This is the figure till July. Till June, we are also told that 15,000 foreign tourists visited the UT. That is still a month earlier. The authorities have also made a projection that 2 crore footfalls of tourists is expected this year in Jammu and Kashmir, and 58 lakh tourists visited Mata Vaishno Devi temple until July this year, and 5 lakh pilgrims have already visited Amarnath cave this year. And the most important thing is that all of this has been possible or is happening under a much larger umbrella of a peaceful atmosphere. So what are the other events that have taken place which have actually been historic for Jammu and Kashmir? Just recently, a G20 tourism meet was concluded peacefully in May. There's been unprecedented peace during Ramzan this year. More than 25,000 Shia community members took part in Muharram procession this year. This was a departure from the last few years. And just a few days ago, Miss World Carolina Bielawska visited the valley. Now, these are scenes that were unimaginable in the UT till few years back. So the big question we're asking today is, while there's been a lot of debate on just how well Jammu and Kashmir has done post abrogation of Article 370, will parties in Jammu and Kashmir though be able to deny that on the ground there is better peace and atmosphere, whether you call it normalcy or not, and that in itself is paving the way for the elections now, which the government says can happen anytime?
जब जम्मू कश्मीर में विधानसभा के चुनावों को कराने का फैसला लेगा, सरकार पूरी तरीके से चुनाव आयोग की हर जरूरत को पूरा करेगी.
We would see the Election Commission of India and the Government of India throwing the ball in each other's court.
Can you give me a date? If you are so satisfied, can you give me a date? I did not find a date. If your TV company has found a date, please let me know also.
ये वेलकम स्टेप है कि अगर वो चुनाव अनाउंस करते हैं, जब तक चुनाव अनाउंस नहीं हो तब तक गैसिंग होगी.
I do want to go across to Kavinder Gupta first up, former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, someone who's actually served with the PDP, the erstwhile BJP-PDP combined government that was there in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the update that has been given by the SG in court is that the government is ready for elections. It can happen, quote, anytime now. How do you see this development? Because your political opponents keep saying, and even till today they're saying, that the government has been saying this for the last few years, but the elections haven't happened and there is no definitive timeline.
देखिए, तुषार मेहता जी के माध्यम से जो सोलिसिटर जनरल हैं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो आज हलफनामा दिया गया है, उससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि गवर्नमेंट की मंशा इलेक्शन कराने की है. विपक्षी पार्टियां कुछ भी कहें, जो पार्टियां वो सरकारों में थी, उन्होंने आज तक ना तो बीडीसी डीडीसी के इलेक्शन नहीं कभी करवाए. पूरे देश में 13 बार इलेक्शन हो गए पंचायतों के और लोकल बॉडीज के, लेकिन यहाँ जम्मू कश्मीर में 4 बार इलेक्शन हुए. भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन की बात की थी, वो बैठा, उसने अपना काम पूरा किया। 1-1.5 साल कोरोना के कारण से लगा, तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि अब ये बहुत देर से, क्योंकि नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ने अपने समय में ये प्रस्ताव पारित कर दिया था कि 2026 तक इलेक्शन ही नहीं हो सकते। उसलिए जरूरी था कि ये अमेंडमेंट की जाती। तो आज डिलिमिटेशन के माध्यम से सभी क्षेत्र बराबर के बनाए गए हैं। कश्मीर में बहुत सी ऐसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी थी जिसमें 16,000 वोट था। जम्मू में जो भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी थी 1 लाख से ज्यादा वोट था। उसी आधार पर मैं ये कहूंगा कि सरकार की मंशा है इलेक्शन करवाने की, और सरकार इलेक्शन करवाएगी। इससे पहले प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय गृह मंत्री जी संसद में भी कह चुके हैं कि इलेक्शन होंगे, तो हम उसके लिए तैयार हैं। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी भी चाहती है कि लोकतांत्रिक प्रक्रिया जम्मू कश्मीर में स्थापित हो।
जो डिस्कशन हुई है वो ये भी बताया जा रहा है कि पहले म्युनिसिपल और पंचायत इलेक्शंस होंगे। इस डेवलपमेंट को आप कैसे देखते हैं? वोटर लिस्ट की बात करी एसजी तुषार मेहता ने, उन्होंने बोला लगभग कंप्लीट हो गई है, लेकिन सवाल यही बना रहता है कि टाइमलाइन कोई निकल के नहीं आ रही है।
देखिए, मैंने पहले ही कहा कि पुरानी सरकारों ने लोकल बॉडीज का इलेक्शन करवाए ही नहीं। 1980 में इलेक्शन हुए थे, फिर 2005 में इलेक्शन हुए थे, तब मैं मेयर बना था। तो 25 साल बाद ये इलेक्शन करवाते हैं, और 2010 से लेकर के 2018 तक इन्होंने फिर इलेक्शन नहीं करवाई। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार के माध्यम से इलेक्शन हुए। 1973 ये 73rd और 74th अमेंडमेंट को यहाँ पर लागू किया गया। तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि टाइमली इलेक्शन हो। इसलिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने ये जो लोकल बॉडीज को स्ट्रेंथन किया है, ये पंचायती राज को स्ट्रेंथन किया है। आज उस माध्यम से केंद्र से जो डायरेक्ट फंडिंग है वो उनको हो रही। तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि वहां पर डेवलपमेंट ना रुके, इसलिए इलेक्शन करवाए जाएंगे। अभी प्रोसेस कुछ दिन पहले लोकल बॉडीज का पूरा हुआ है 29 को। ये 29 को, उससे पहले जो वोटर लिस्ट सारी उसका रिव्यू किया गया है। तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि हम प्रिपेयर है इलेक्शन करवाने के लिए। और ये जो जल्द है एक पंचायतों के इलेक्शन भी होने वाले हैं। इन 2 इलेक्शंस के बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी चाहती है कि ये, क्योंकि ये प्रेरोगेटिव तो
इलेक्शन कमीशन का
है, वो इलेक्शन करवाए।
जी बिल्कुल, but there is a timeline you're saying, and the timeline is very clear. I finally want to ask you, Kavinder Gupta, the BJP always says that since the abrogation of Article 370, there's been large-scale change in just the atmosphere in Jammu and Kashmir, and of course, as far as terror activities are concerned. So is the BJP ready to fight parties like the NC and the PDP, the Gupkar Alliance parties? Because you've always been a smaller party in Jammu and Kashmir. How do you see the political landscape of the UT changing?
ये इस बात का सबूत है कि एक गुपकार यहाँ पर गठबंधन बना है। आप जानती हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी का डर कहीं ना कहीं उन्हें सता रहा है, तभी तो वो इकट्ठे हुए हैं। नहीं तो ये पहले पार्टियां 40-40 साल ये सत्ता में रही, आखिर उनका क्यों गठबंधन की जरूरत पड़ी? हम खुद समझ सकते हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का डर उन्हें सता रहा है, और आने वाले समय में भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने बल पर 50+ का जो हमारा एक नारा है उसको पूरा करेगी और सरकार अपने तौर पर बनाएगी।
Okay. All right, we'll wait and see what happens, but certainly this is once again a reiteration by the government that they're committed for the polls in Jammu and Kashmir. Kavinder Gupta, thanks a lot for joining us. I also want to go across to our other guests waiting for us. Shazia Ilmi of the BJP continues to be with us. Nilofar Masood of the JKNC is also with us. Nilofar Masood, I'm not quite understanding what is the criticism that the Jammu and Kashmir parties are mounting. It has always been stated by the government that statehood will return, that process will take time. Today the government has once again reiterated and possibly given you a slight timeline. Are you happy with that reassurance, or are you not feeling assured?
Shivani, actually what is sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court is basically the writ petition which is against the abrogation of the Article 370.
Yes.
We have not knocked the doors of the justice for the elections. It's true that we want that there should be restoration of the democracy, but let me be very clear that what is the writ petition before the Supreme Court is basically the illegalities, against the illegalities.
Of the manner in which the Article 370 was abrogated. I get that.
See, yes, that is the actual fact which is before the Honorable Supreme Court, which should be decided. And what the SG is doing, in fact, he intends to give the diversion to that petition in order to just end it up with
But
the
ma'am,
elections,
in this
that
case,
we want elections.
No, but ma'am,
Yes,
in this case, let's be fair.
because they don't have any legal arguments.
No, they've made
Because they
legal
don't have
arguments.
any legal arguments.
One second, ma'am, 1 second, for the benefit of our viewers. Of course, the argument on whether the Article 370 was abrogated legally or not, those arguments are ongoing. The government has also presented its case on why it took that decision. That's a separate matter. But as far as statehood for Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, that question came from the bench. The SG Tushar Mehta has only responded to the question and the query that the bench asked him to.
Just give me 20 seconds.
Yes.
Just give me 20 seconds.
Yes,
From
go
last
ahead.
5 years, we are having the governor's role. And we have been hearing after each fortnight that yes, elections will be held. We do want that there should be the restoration of the democracy. But from last 5 years, we have been hearing it off and on. And what today is being done in the Jammu and Kashmir, it is the election rolls are being updated. There is no doubt about it. But for the ULB elections, which are going to be held, not for the assembly elections, and for that too, they are not clear about the time frame when actually these are going to be held.
So
But if this
according
is the
to you,
situation after
okay, let
even
me
5
ask you a
years-
question. Let me ask you a question. Again, I see a contradiction here. According to you, elections should be held today, but also according to you and your parties, the atmosphere on the ground is too bad. So are you saying
No.
that elections should have, even though the atmosphere on ground is not conducive, or are you
No,
accepting
see,
that
government-
normalcy has returned to
government has
Jammu and
come
Kashmir?
up clear. See, there are two contradictory things which the government is taking. On one side, they are filing the supplementary affidavit before the Honorable Supreme Court that everything is fine here, normalcy is there, we don't have stone pelting, everything, graph is going on very good, economy is very good, then everything is good. Why the democracy is not being restored?
fair enough.
This is a big question mark and they're working on it.
No, but
Because
do
they're
you
making false
accept,
claim.
Nilofer ji, Nilofer ji,
claim.
I'll take that question to Shazia, but do you accept that yes, normalcy has returned to Jammu and Kashmir? If you are asking for elections today, then you must accept that yes, the atmosphere is conducive for elections. Yes, Nilofer ji?
You're asking me?
Yes, has normalcy returned to Jammu and Kashmir according to you or not?
See, I am saying these two contradictory these views have been taken by the government of India. On one way, they are saying that there is normalcy. If there is normalcy, then why the democracy is not being restored?
Because they're doing delimitation and they're sorting out the voter list. In any case, you didn't answer my question. If you want polls today, then you must also accept that there is normalcy on ground. Let Shazia come in. Shazia Ilmi, there is no definitive timeline, only assurances that come in from the BJP or the government from time to time.
So I heard Nilofer ji very patiently, and she failed to convince either me, you, or the viewers.
I don't have to convince you, Shazia Ilmi. I don't need to convince you.
That's because there is so much contradiction in what she's saying.
Supreme Court.
And I tell you why.
And I
tell you why. No, you have to be quiet to listen. I want to.
I don't need to convince you. Why should I convince you? You need to convince the Honorable Supreme Court on the legalities.
No,
Nilofer ji, you had your turn. Let us speak and then you can speak again.
Again, you confused. Again, you confused. Again, you confused.
No, I'm not.
The problem with you is that you're very confused and you're trying to cover up that confusion by trying to confuse
people
others.
that you are confused. You are not
you're
able to give
conflating the two
time
issues.
frame.
One is the issue of abrogation of Article 370 and the process whereby it was abrogated. Let me finish. Can I request Shivani to allow me to speak?
Can I, Nilofer ji, I will appreciate you got your turn.
Shivani,
now please
can
allow
I
our
just have
other
10
panelists to
seconds of-
speak as well. Yes, Shazia, go ahead.
You know, because I just heard Nilofer Appa very seriously talk about and tie herself in knots, and many of them, as she talked about this issue. She conflates the two issues. The issue of abrogation of 370 and the process whereby it happened, that's one. And that is exactly where the submissions have been, and lawyers on both sides are giving their reasons and reasoning and arguments for the same. And also a separate issue on the elections. Now it is her party and all other parties which have been asking for elections and have been saying until this announcement came that Jammu and Kashmir is ready for elections. Now, the biggest grouse was how long will the state of India or the union govern them through the lieutenant governor and not have fair and free elections. Now, finally, that is being announced, and now it's difficult for them to accept that exactly what they asked for is what they're getting. So they're trying. There is no answer really. So
but
the
Shazia, can I come
that
in?
she talks about is exactly representative of how she feels.
But
No, I
Shazia,
want to
they're
say two
saying
things.
that there is no
If the- if
definitive
this-
timeline still. There is no time, there is no date still.
Exactly. There is no definitive timeline about the restoration of the statehood. And this is exactly what has been argued in the court. What has been argued in the court is that there could be elections, and there will be, where it comes to panchayat, municipal and assembly levels, and there should be. But when this question specifically was asked as to when the statehood would be restored, to which there was a very honest answer that there is no definitive answer that can be given to that. So that's it. But the question on elections has been answered. And the fact and this complete rabble rousing that went on, that the union is interfering with the rights and the freedom of Kashmiri people by not having elections, by perpetuating the governor's or lieutenant governor's rule, and therefore imposing itself on the federal rights of the people of Kashmir has now been undone.
Okay,
So
can I bring in Niloufar again?
Argument here.
Niloufar
There is
ji,
no legit
wanna
argument that you can make.
Niloufar ji, I want to give you another minute. I want to understand from you. You know,
Let
all of
me
these
submit to the
parties.
Shazia
One
Appa
second, one
also.
second.
Let me
Niloufar
submit to the
ji,
Shazia
please
Appa.
listen
Just
to
give
my
me 20
question also.
seconds.
Niloufar ji, please listen to my question
Yes,
also.
yes.
The point also is that the democracy that you talk about in Jammu and Kashmir was one limited in the hands of a few chosen few. That was not true democracy either. I was speaking to Kavinder Gupta earlier, but these are statistics that are available to everyone, that local elections were not held for many years, at some times for decades in Jammu and Kashmir. So how can Jammu and Kashmir parties claim that they are the true representatives of democracy in the valley? Is also a large question.
See, Shivani, you must be knowing that what were the situations right from 1989 till.
So you accept the situation was bad under you.
See.
So you accept that till JK, NC and till PDP were ruling, the situation was bad.
Let me complete. If you are going to answer on my behalf, then it will be useless.
No, please make admissions then.
Allow me to speak.
Go ahead.
Allow me to speak. You know what was the situation in the Jammu and Kashmir. Even then, National Conference is the party which held the local body elections. Even in 2002, the elections were held. And after that, you should admit this thing. Whenever the local body elections were held in the Jammu and Kashmir, it was only the JKNC, not any other party. And about the assembly elections, I have been saying that center has been ruling right from 2014 till date. What actually has happened in the Jammu and Kashmir? They are talking about the peace, prosperity and everything. Neither democracy is here, neither development is there, neither prosperity is there.
Is peace there?
You kindly see, you kindly see the rate of the unemployment youths. You kindly see that.
Ma'am,
What
all
is
of
the
those
rate?
fruits
It has
of
gone
development
above- it
will
has
come
gone
to
above
Jammu and
30.
Kashmir, and they have started to come to Jammu and Kashmir after abrogation of Article 370. You
No,
cannot expect everything overnight. Do you know that Jammu and Kashmir used to get...
I'll give you the numbers.
No, one second. Jammu
2014.
and Kashmir used to get disproportional India funds, disproportional funds from the central government till 2019. What happened to those funds is a question India should ask. I'm sorry,
Let me
but the
complete.
issue is peace and the issue is elections. I don't want to get into this because I don't have a time. I have time for this. Yeah, 30 seconds, please.
80,000. See, we have heard about the 80,000 packages, 80,000 crores package. It was said by the our PM that he has given 80,000 rupees package to our 80,000 crore package to Jammu and Kashmir. But what happened to that? It only was floating in the papers and in the air itself. You just tell me.
I'm talking about historically. I'm not even talking about 2014. Historically, Jammu and Kashmir has received disproportionate. Disproportionate, I'm saying, because it doesn't give anything to the union. It has received disproportionate funds over decades. And where has that money gone is not a question that you can throw to others, because your parties have been in power.
Tell me who is responsible for that?
Parties like you. You've ruled in Jammu and Kashmir.
You are today giving us the number of the tourists. You are including the pilgrims who are coming to this state. We were never adding to those numbers to to the already
Ma'am,
to all the.
if you're telling me that situation is the same as it was, on one hand you say you know what happened in Jammu and Kashmir since 1989. On another hand you say that peace has returned, election should happen today. I am confused. But I'll give 30.
Let me complete.
No, I'm sorry, I've given you enough time.
Way,
this is not for you to evade my questions. Shazia Elmi, I have 30 seconds left. The government's performance will also be judged.
Yes.
All the tall claims, I'm using that word very seriously, all the tall claims of development, of terror coming down, of peace returning or normalcy returning, those are claims that will be judged on ground.
Of course, and they should be judged. And that is evident because you just see at the level, at the panchayat level, the kind of funds that have been given and used. And not just that, for the first time there's a cinema. There are students actually who play football and have moved away, been weaned away from stone pelting. And not just that, tourism is a huge indicator. The entire industry, the biggest revenue earner for them has been tourism. That is important. Rights of other citizens such as Safai Valmikis and Safai Karamcharis and women and others have been restored, which wasn't there earlier.
Most importantly, the Solicitor General. No, the Solicitor General said,
but I want to make another point, it's a very important point which the Solicitor General made.
Yes.
And said that there had to be bifurcation. Now, this whole issue of statehood, if there was a matter of bifurcation of any other state, it would have been a different matter. But because we're talking about looking at different parameters for delimitation and updating voter records, it's important because it shares boundaries with
all right, I have to leave it at that, but I do want to point out to our viewers that the SG also mentioned terror-initiated instances have reduced by 45%, infiltration by 90% between 2018 to 2023, and incidents like stone pelting have reduced by 97%. Those are all numbers that cannot be refuted.